Hello, good evening. It's Wind Down Wednesday. As you're popping on, please say hello in the comments. I'm just pulling y'all up on Facebook. Hey, Olivia. Say hello as you pop on in the comments. Tonight, Wind Down Wednesday, day after my birthday. First of all, look at these nails, okay? Okay. So I'm going to be doing this a lot. And tonight we have, of course, Felix and my friend Kat, aka Oddfaced, who is also a guest tonight. So I'm going to bring them on right quick. Elle.
Hi.
Check out the sexy lineup tonight. Hey.
What's up? I gotta wait. Hold on.
Hey, Kim. Nice to see you. So what's up, everybody? Welcome. This is Wind Down Wednesday with Amelia and Felix, and we often bring in another lovely guest host. So tonight, our lovely guest host is Kat Tanchenko, aka Oddfaced, the ever-talented, ever-orange drinking. Is that a mimosa?
Yeah. Some may call it that. I might have put a little something extra in there.
What are y'all drinking tonight? Leave it in the comments. Say hello as you're popping in. If this is your first time here, welcome to Wind Down Wednesday. It's a Facebook Live talk show hosted by me and Felix, and we've been here all throughout quarantine, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So welcome.
How many weeks has it been?
I need to go back and check. Because we get to count that.
It's been at least 12 weeks, right? It has to be at least 12 weeks.
It has to be at least 12 weeks. Yeah, we'll look at that because I think we've been doing it since April.
Yeah. Okay.
So if it's your first time here, welcome. And if you are a returner, welcome back. If you're catching this on the replay, give us a hashtag replay. But definitely say hello in the comments. This is a very interactive show. And so tonight's topic is, visibility and stepping into your greatness. And where this topic comes from is because I've been having a lot of conversations this week with clients, with friends, a lot about visibility. And hey, Megan, they express a desire to be more comfortable putting themselves out there, whether it's on social media, whether it's through video, or whether it's just in general in their relationships and at work. And I noticed that this is really a trend, like in the work that I do with clients, whether I'm working with them on their career or on their money story or on their dating and love life, it all comes down to visibility and having issues with visibility and being vulnerable and truly being seen by others. And I totally connect the two, visibility and stepping into your greatness. So the question that I want to open up with for our guest hosts here and for myself, of course, I'll share mine. But where are you currently at in terms of like being visible? I mean, obviously you have a certain level of visibility for even wanting to be on a show like this. But like, where are you at? And maybe too, like, where have you struggled with it in the past with visibility? If anyone can go first.
I'd say ladies first.
Okay. So the question is, where are we right now with our, like, how comfortable are we with being vulnerable? And okay. This topic really excited me because I feel like I'm at this crossroads where I'm finally coming out of, like, it used to be very common everyday thoughts for me to be like, your art isn't good enough. I'm a makeup artist, filmmaker, storyteller, for those who don't know. And it was a very common thought for me to be like, yeah, no. If you do her makeup or his makeup, it's gonna, like, their eyelash is gonna fall off, and you're not gonna match their foundation right, and all this stuff. Or if you make a film, people are gonna laugh at it because people have. When I was in film school, and if I meet this person, they're gonna think I'm weird. So those were just common everyday thoughts, and I thought that they were healthy at one point. I thought that was just me protecting myself and being realistic. And I had to learn that that's, I think, called self-sabotage. And I think that's called a little voice in your head that's not really you. And I thought it was me. I thought all the thoughts I had were true. I thought all the emotions I had were like tied to me forever. So I'm excited for this topic because I feel like I'm at a point where I finally like know and live in such a way that I know that's not true. And I still have, days where I'm nervous, but it's no longer you're not good enough, My self-talk is a lot different. My self-love journey. Amelia is my favorite self-love person to help me along this journey is so much different. So in terms of being vulnerable, I feel like I found it. I'm finally at a point where I see it as a strength, as opposed to being like, if I show I'm emotional, if I show my disclose my mental disorders or that I'm nervous about doing makeup, people will see that as a weakness. And maybe some do, but more often than not, I find that people are empowered by it because they're like, okay, shit, me too. Like me too. I've also been doubting myself, and I thought you were like perfect. I thought you were so confident, and I'm like sometimes, but so I feel like I'm just enjoying life so much that I don't always have to be on to connect with people. And I feel like it's made my friendships deeper. I'm connecting with people online and, like my online friendships, some of the best ones, especially right now. So yeah, did I go on a tangent?
No. I really love
Yeah,
the couple of
but
things
it was beautiful.
yeah, no, I really love how you said, knowing that I don't always have to be on has actually deepened my relationships. And I think I totally should have like introduced you to the audience for people who don't know you. If you're a returner, you'll know Kat is a watcher of the show and has been a participant and deep in the comments.
But just in the comments.
Yes, her thirst trapping comments. Kat is wildly talented.
Oh shit! There's a lot of people here. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Kat is a wildly talented makeup artist, period, a visual storyteller. I mean, go to her YouTube channel, Odd Faced. I'm about to just write it right here. I'm going to post it. Go to Odd Faced. So search Odd Faced on YouTube. She has amazing makeup tutorials on there and just really awesome stories that she tells. And her Instagram as well, Odd Face. You can see her work. But yeah, talented artist. And we actually were online friends first. So I was looking for a makeup artist for something. And I remember the description. I was like, I'm looking for a woman of color makeup artist who is conscious about like what's going on in the world, about social justice and activism. But can also do like really cool makeup. And someone recommended you. And as soon as I followed her, I was like, oh crap, like this person needs to be my friend. And so I slid into her DMs and we
literally slid into those DMs. And I was like, who is this bitch? Like, why is she like commenting on everything I post? And I was like, and we both worked at the same theme park, Universal Studios. So I was like, maybe I met her and I'm just an asshole and don't remember her. But I finally asked you, I was like, wait, have we met? Because we were already like, like, talking about like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wait, hold on. Do we actually know each other in real life? And you were like, no.
Oh, we did. And we actually met in New York and we've done quite a few projects together. One particular project has not yet been unveiled, but don't worry, that one's going to be worth the wait. We worked really hard on that project and we did also Faces of Grief, Kat's art show in November before all this stuff happened. So go to her page, check out her stuff. And I think I really want you to even like go now to look at her stuff because it's interesting to hear. It's always interesting to me to hear you say things like, is my art good enough? And I think we all relate to it. I think any artist, anyone that's putting themselves out there with their own work has had thoughts of self-doubt and like, is it good enough? And it's just always so interesting to me to hear you say those things because like when I look, I'm like, yo, you're a badass. Like literally go to her page. Like you'll see the work that she does. And it's like, this is amazing work. It's like undoubtedly, how do you say that? Anyway, without a doubt, just amazing, amazing work. And we all go through it. We all feel like, you can look at someone's Instagram feed and think like, oh, they've got it all together. And I do agree with you that it is powerful to share the truth. And yes, some people might see it as a weakness, but I think the people who are really meant to be consumers or patrons of our work will appreciate it, because we're showing who we really are.
Yeah.
So yeah. What about you, Felix? Where are you at with what have you struggled with in terms of visibility, and where are you at?
So I love being here, and one of the reasons I love being here is because you always pick these topics that, you know, they're like a whole training. Like this topic is a whole training, right? So visibility
You
and
wait.
stepping into your greatness, and like, if when you ask me what have I struggled with, what comes up to me is like everything. Um, I've struggled with the idea that I'm very young looking. I've struggled with the idea um, like people won't respect me because of my age and because how I like show up because of like my face. Because I look young now, but I used to look younger when I was 25. I looked like I was 15. So it was tough to command like be an authoritative figure in what I was doing. So I had to definitely break certain beliefs and ideas that I had about myself and other people. Um, when it comes to visibility, I can say that it wasn't until I say 3 years ago that I finally decided that I was going to expose myself to like be myself completely. Are you raising your hands?
I am, but I'm not going to interrupt you. Please keep going.
I thought you were doing like the cat.
Raphael's here, so I'm just to keep going, Felix.
Yeah. So I made this promise to myself that I'm gonna expose myself completely and discover, right, and be in this process of self-love. You see, what happened was that I went through a breakup. It was a very bad breakup. But it actually was a great breakup now looking back at it, because I was I was trying to fit as a circle. I was trying to fit into a square. I was trying to fit somewhere. I couldn't be myself. That I couldn't be visible. I couldn't expose myself completely, because like that would have taken vulnerability to like be this person. Like, yeah, like I'm like the hybrid jock. I'm like, I love basketball, and I love running, and I love working out, and I love lifting, but I also love anime, and I love video games, and I love building computers. So I really got to like, when I was in that relationship, or when I was being accepting and thinking that I deserved that relationship, there was so much of me that wasn't revealed. There was so much of me that was not visible. There was so much of me that I was not hiding. Sorry. Jeremy said, it's okay, Felix. You're fine.
Fine.
Oh, man.
Can I ask my question?
Yeah. Well, I want to just, hey, Victor, thank you so much for hopping on from Instagram. You were amazing on our Instagram live. So if you want to go to Kat's page or my page too, we did an Instagram live on breaking up with being the model minority, and that shit was litty titty. That was such a good conversation, and it was so healing for everyone. And yeah, and Felix, thank you so much for bringing up relationships, because visibility, it's about vulnerability and being willing to be yourself and show yourself all of who you are, so that you can really get what's meant for you, right? And welcoming Raphael into the space. Hello.
What up?
We're talking about visibility and stepping into your greatness, and the question that we're all currently answering and being with is where are you at?
And if I can share, if I can continue. You had a question, Kat?
When you said that you look too young, I didn't actually know. Are you an actor?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do play characters in my life, but I'm not the
Oh,
actor.
okay. So just in life, people think you're younger than you are, and it gets weird.
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like I'm putting, I'm
You
good.
just like cut me off though.
No, that doesn't happen anymore. I resolved that.
No, but I literally was still talking.
Oh,
Oh shoot. I'm sorry, and I like jumped on that too. I didn't realize.
Okay, I was just bringing Raphael into the space to let him know what we're talking about, so that he can also.
I'm gonna send you this. This is yours.
No, so I just want Raphael to know what we're talking about, and then you guys can continue. But
cool.
anyone who just hopped on, so we're talking about visibility and stepping into your greatness, and the question that we're currently being with is, where are we currently at in terms of visibility, whether it's in career or relationships or just in general, and also what have we struggled with in terms of visibility. And so Kat brought up about with her art and thinking it's not good enough and having those doubts and thoughts. And then Felix brought up about, looking too young, not being able, thinking people won't respect him because of how he looks, like looking too young. And also in relationships, like not showing all of him in a relationship, and therefore it ending up the way it did. So that's what they're talking about. And so go ahead, you can continue. And then Raph, you can jump in when they're done, and then I'll jump in too.
Yeah. So
Hey, Lindsay. Hey, Andrea.
sometimes in order to get the things like that we desire, sometimes we like transform ourselves into this being that is not completely ourselves. Like we like disfigure ourselves, we contort ourselves to fit into this box that it really it just doesn't work for us. Like just because we want the relationship or because we want the money or because we want whatever the status, whatever it is. And this is what it usually ends up happening, that you end up disappointed because ultimately you're not being who you want to be. You're completely you're completely you're betraying yourself. You're betraying who you are. You're betraying your values. You're betraying your identities. You're betraying your beliefs. Um, and so like I think last thing I want to say is that what I've learned is that you must commit to the process completely. It's a life it's a lifelong journey of levels. And right now I'm where I am. I'm super grateful for it. But even today, like I got to practice ways that you know I got to being like, oh shit, I have no idea what this person is gonna say because I'm sharing myself openly.
Mm.
And so I like this thing that Brene Brown says, that you can measure vulnerability by how much courage it takes. Um, and also like vulnerability it's like it's showing up when you don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Ooh, that's good.
Showing up completely when you
Yeah.
don't know what the outcome is going to be. It took me some time to pull it, but
No,
I
that's
got it.
good. No, that's good. We got there. It was worth the wait.
So yeah, it takes courage to live. It takes courage to like it takes courage for me. Like I found like I struggled with just being joyful and having fun. So for me, it takes courage to like be at like 100 when it comes to joy, because for me, it always like the rug was always pulled out. And now I get to practice every day, like to have fun and to enjoy. And some days are better than others because again, like it's an ongoing process and it's an ongoing practice and it's an ongoing just being with yourself and having the awareness to see yourself without judging yourself, and then acting and then taking actions that again demonstrate your values and demonstrate who you are in this world, and demonstrate uh, a different mindset and belief. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Jeremy bringing up a point similar to what you're saying, like it's scary showing your vulnerability because people can use that to hurt you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that comes up for me hearing you both speak about it is like the word ownership. Because when we have true ownership over who we are, it's like no one can really no one can use who you are against you.
Yeah.
If you own it, you know. And it reminds me of a wonderful conversation we had around the trans experience on Raphael's show, Quarantine Cafe. And one of the guests, who is a trans person, was like, we don't need you to even accept us. We just need you to respect us. It's like, you don't need, because someone was saying something about like, you know, no one's ever going to see a trans woman as a real woman, or like some people aren't going to see them that way. And it was just like, we don't need you to see it that way, you know? And like, for me, a big part of my journey stepping into visibility and into my greatness is like, you don't need to get it. You don't need to get what I'm doing. A lot of people don't get what I do. Like, you don't need to get it. I need to get it. And I get it. And then that's okay. You know, Victor is saying, especially with past experiences in relationships, it can be scary being that vulnerable about who you are and your interests and beliefs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Similar to what Jeremy's saying. So, Raph, how about you? Where are you at with visibility, and what have you struggled with in the past or currently still struggling with?
I think that before, what I struggled with the most was I had a fear of success. And I didn't want to do what I needed to do to get there, because I felt that once I did it, the world was going to find out that I'm an imposter, right? That I don't deserve to be there because I didn't start at 5 years old, and I'm not like the most brilliant in the room or the most talented in the room, and I don't deserve to be there. So it was definitely about finding out what my own self-worth was. But even in doing that work, what I really truly found out, which is where the work really began, is that it's not an automatic button. It's not a step that all of a sudden you're like, I'm here and now I'm a different person and I'm absolutely brilliant at everything I do. Look at me. It's actually a series of steps. It's more like a mountain range. Like, you might see that it's mountains, but once you get there, it's a mountain range, and it's continuously choosing to go up the mountain over and over and over again. And the truth is that you don't see, or you don't really witness your own greatness. Other people show you how much you've grown, but it's something that we continue to choose to do.
I love that. I love that. And I love the metaphor of the mountains. And it reminds me of, like, we talk a lot about celebrating the wins. And it's like, we climb a mountain and then we don't even get to enjoy the view from the summit, because we're like, okay, what's the next mountain I have to climb? And what's the next mountain I have to climb? That's kind of like a little bit off topic, but I feel like it just came through, so it needed to be said. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of themes with what the three of you are saying and what people are saying in the comments. And, you know, Jeremy and Victor both talking about people can use. So yeah, here, let me just show what Jeremy's saying. There's greater things out there when you're vulnerable and show up, but it comes with a price of being hurt and being fearful. Maybe, I mean, yes, and, you know, it's like, yes, people can use your vulnerability to hurt you and take advantage of you, but also when you're vulnerable, the right opportunities come to you. And you can look at that through the lens of career, through the lens of business, through the lens of art, through the lens of dating. Like, if I'm, like, I know for me, like, I've had a lot of trouble with dating, especially in the past. Like, before I learned about stepping into my power and owning my feminine energy, and I just kept dating and attracting unavailable people who didn't treat me very well, who weren't wanting to step up to the plate and show up for me. And I wanted to be like rescued, you know. I wanted a man to look at me and love me the way that they look at the princesses in Disney movies or whatever, like that googly-eyed thing. And I realized, do I look at myself like that? am I taking ownership of the awesome partner that I am and that I can be? And I wasn't. I was like seeking for other people to make it okay for me to then be who I really am. But that's backwards. Like you have to like be who you really are. And it's interesting, like in my last relationship, like the things that made him fall deeper in love with me were just me being me. Like I'll remember, like I remember when I was like still trying to like impress him and like show what a good girlfriend I am and like trying all these things and like, what's your love language? And I'm like, oh, it's acts of service. I'm going to speak your love language and look what a good girlfriend I am and look at how you should like stay with me. But I wasn't like, I was up here in my head, like trying to finagle my success in this relationship by trying to control everything. But it was honestly like the quirkiest, weirdest shit that I did that he was just like, he would be like, I love you so much. And like, or like, I felt like you let me into your world a little bit. And I remember the first time that something like that happened, because I was like, okay, how do I let my man know that I'm feminine and open and receptive and that I receive him? How do I let him know that I'm receiving his masculine energy? And I was like all in my head about it and being like, oh, thank you. I appreciate you. Da 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 da. And he would just be like, I could tell that he wasn't receiving it the way my control wanted him to. And then I remember one time we were talking and it was like a deep conversation and I really had to pee. And this was like in the beginning of the relationship, okay? So he was talking and I did not want to interrupt him and I had to pee so badly. And I just like got up and I started walking backwards to the bathroom and then I left the door open and I just like peed. And then he just stops and he starts laughing and he was like, I've never loved you more. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, that's what did it. Like, that's what had you know that I'm accepting you. And I think we do that. Like, we like try to let people know that we accept them when all you have to do is accept yourself and be yourself. And that lets them know that you accept them because you're letting them into your world, or that's one way. So that's what I've struggled with, especially in relationships where it's like, look at my wifey credentials. Like, I can cook, I can clean, like, look how, and none of that has ever truly impressed anyone that I was with. What has truly impressed them was when I would break down crying about something because it was real to me, or I would authentically show my anger, or I would, Are there two Raphaels right now?
There's an echo, but not anymore.
I muted it. Are you switching phones or something? Okay, he's switching. There we go. Okay, you're back. So that's what I showed, like from the relationship lens, and then from the career lens. I mean, I pride myself on being mad real in my content, and I work with a lot of people on that because they message me all the time and they're like, yo, girl, like you just put your shit there. And I'm like, I have to. Like, it's what's relatable. And it's not because I'm trying to be relatable. It's because I want people to know the real me. And if they're going to work with me, especially like, you know, I do healing and coaching. That's intimate AF. And I want you, if you're going to pay me money to support you through your dating or through your career or through like building your business, I want you to trust me. I want you to know who I am, and I want to know who you are. And like when it comes to vulnerability in any relationship, whether it's like a client coach relationship, it's like, I'm going to jump first. So I'm going to show all my cards, you know, and it's like that in any relationship. And that's scary, you know, like Jeremy was saying, you know, people can use it against you. Andrea's saying something really cool here. Fear of success. I know, Raphael, you mentioned that. I can relate. Embedded in my was actually a fear of responsibility. Oh, that's a good one. I think a lot of the reason why we shy away from our power and stepping into our greatness, aka visibility, is because with that does come great responsibility. And it's like, now you're putting your ass on the line and like, oh, now I have to like show up. you know. Oh, thank you, Jeremy. I love your vulnerable post. You say the shit people wish they can say. Well, you know what? I'm willing to say that stuff because sometimes I say it for the greater good of all, and I put myself out there. Yeah. So, what else is coming up for you all as we talk about this with vulnerability and challenges you've had, or even like how you've overcome those challenges? Because all of us are content creators. We've all felt the imposter syndrome. I'm sure we've all felt not good enough, and we still put our stuff out there. So, yeah, let's go there. Like, how did you actually take those steps to start putting your stuff out there?
Yeah, I think that it's just taking a leap of faith in yourself. At least that's what I had to do with me, my work. Taking a leap of step in yourself, being able to be vulnerable enough to know that you're going to fall on your face and you're going to be fine. Knowing that you're gonna mess up and it's okay, knowing that you're doing the work and it's gonna get sloppy and messy, just like you were saying, Amelia, in relationships, and you get to work through it. But that's really how you get to evolve into the person that you want to be. And even in relationships, I think that's something that really resonated in me that you were speaking about, Amelia, is that oftentimes we go into relationships and we're looking to impress the other person. And that's really dangerous because that's no longer us. As soon as our ego gets engaged, it then becomes the representative, our representative. Like, look, I don't even go to the bathroom. I'm so amazing. Like, you're not going to see the worst side of me, right? Because the representative comes along and it's always smiles and it's inauthentic. But what you pointed out was that the fact that your partner was falling in love with your authentic side when your representative wasn't there, saying, "Hey, look at all the sparkles." He caught what was really beautiful about you, and that's really what made him fall in love with you. And that's the same way that I feel like when we're coming into a relationship, bringing our absolute very best, our most powerful, we get to really be with our authentic self.
I think one of the most attractive things is confidence paired with vulnerability. Like someone who, because usually if it's just confidence, that can be like very ego. So it's like when it's paired with vulnerability, it's just like you're unstoppable because you're so confident, but you also know you can mess up, and you probably will at some points. But having like the humility to be like, I messed up, or I hurt this person, I'm gonna apologize once, fix it where I can, and then like move forward. So that's something that came up for me. What you're saying.
I love that. Confidence paired with vulnerability makes you unstoppable.
Because you can make mistakes. You're free to make mistakes once you really get on that train. And I can say it, right? It took me a long time to learn it. And yeah, that applies to your career. I was stuck with my career for the longest time because I was like, I'm not going to make this video or do this link or message this person that I really want to work with until I'm ready. Have like better makeup materials and products and brand names and whatever, like my acne goes away, like all these reasons. And once that went away, I could just get moving. And with relationships, the same thing. Like waiting that until you're perfect to present yourself to the perfect person. And if you are afraid of being vulnerable, I feel like you can find the perfect person. You're going to self-sabotage your way out of it because you're going to scare them away because people can smell it, when you're like, when there's so much ego, when you're scared to be yourself. And you can be like amazing, like amazingly talented and good looking and fit and all this stuff, but you can sense when someone still just doesn't love themselves. So yeah, your bathroom story makes sense because like that's so attractive, like she's confident enough and it's a cute thing, but it was like really your confidence. Like everyone has to go pee. I want to listen to you, but I'm not gonna like, cut you off. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I don't know where you went. I don't know what. Are you still there? Can we hear you, Raphael?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm clearly having some technical issues right now.
Okay, that's okay. As long as we can hear you. But I kind of want to do this. So, yeah, confidence paired with vulnerability makes you unstoppable. That is so, so true. And it just brings me back to the word ownership, right? Like, owning your mistakes, knowing that you're going to mess up. I think that we've been conditioned to believe that perfection is possible, and that if you don't have perfection, then that's it. Like, it's like this black and white, all or nothing thinking.
Right, hide unless you're perfect.
Yeah, and who was I talking to earlier? I was talking to my friend Kana earlier. Hey, Kana, if you're watching this. And she was saying, I blame school, because school trained us. Like, kindergarten was like the only grade where we were allowed to play and mess up and try things out. But like, once you got to first grade, at least here in the United States, I don't know how it is all over the world. I've only been to school in the United States, but like, from the moment you're 6 years old in first grade, you are trained to be terrified of that red pen. And you are trained to be terrified of not getting 100 on something. And so school trains us to shoot for perfection and to think that we're less than when we're not perfect. And it also trains us to isolate and be alone inside of those imperfections, right? Where it's like, don't copy my paper. Like, cheating, what's called cheating in school would actually be collaboration in IRL, in real life. And honestly, like, collaboration is how we do things. Like, we can't create greatness without collaboration. And I always like to say, if your dreams can be achieved but only by you, then they're not big enough. And period.
It's not possible.
Yeah. And like, but we're trained to isolate, to try to figure things out on our own. We're trained away from collaboration. We're trained to compete with each other. And then we're trained to think perfection is possible. And I think it's so healing to hear people be like, nope, you're going to mess up. Like, yep, you're going to fail. You're going to flub your lines. You're going to fall on your face. And I think, Raphael, while you were talking about that, I was thinking about how on our previous episode of Wind Down Wednesday, where we had the 8 steps to like declaring and like manifesting your goals, one is like about accountability. And what I say with accountability is like, surround yourself with people who are going through it too. And Felix, you brought up Brene Brown, and one of my favorite things from one of Brene Brown's books, where she quotes Theodore Roosevelt, and it's about, I'm not concerned about your opinion if you're not also in the arena.
Yeah, you're not battling, so
yeah. Well, because if you're not in the arena, then like your opinion doesn't really matter. And actually, I'll share a story about that. So, a lot of I go on a lot of shows. So I have my own show. This is my show. This is our show, and but I also get invited to be a guest on other shows. And when I'm a guest on other shows, I'm putting myself out there for like an audience that knows nothing about me, right? And so I'll get a lot of messages. I'll get good ones. I'll get bad ones. And so one of my favorite ones was this woman. She like sent me this long email, and it was like thinly veiled as a compliment, but she was like judging me. And she was like, Amelia, you have really great material and you make really great points. But the only thing is like, you say like a lot. And I don't know if you know, but like saying like a lot, and plus you look young. And so it makes people not trust you and not think that you're professional. So I would look into, hiring a speech person to like support you, whatever. And I was just like, first of all, I'm okay with how I talk. It's conversational. And if you don't like how I talk, then you're probably not supposed to work with me anyway, because how I talk is how I'm going to talk when I'm working with you. I've also gotten hate mail for cursing on my website. But anyway, and so I took a moment and I replied to her and I was like, thank you so much for this feedback and thank you for making these points. I would love to read your article or listen to one of your podcast episodes or interviews about this topic. So feel free to send me a link and I'll definitely take a look at it.
I remember that. You told me this story.
It was like, I have an ego hit there, admittedly. I'm like, yes. Ha,
I like that. That's how you boss it. That's when you wear a cap like this. You'd be like, and...
No, but it's true because like I thought of Brene Brown and talking about that quote, and because it's like someone who is on shows like that, like I am, like all of y'all do live streams, like none of y'all would tear me down for that, because you know what it requires to host a show and to put yourself out there. And any artist that's actually doing something is not going to tear down another artist unless it's like that's their own lack of self-love, right? And so it's like, unless you're in the arena, it doesn't really matter.
Here's the thing with my thing with that is that too often people want to jump and like give you advice, and it has nothing to do with them giving you something. It has something to do with them feeling righteous about what they believe and being like, you know what, this would help you. And it's like, yo, I didn't even ask you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm the type of fitness coach, nutrition coach, that I can literally be listening to someone talking about waist trainers. I could listen to people talk about like whatever it is. Like I'm doing paid, and I shut my mouth. Like you will not hear me speak a word about it, because if you haven't asked me for help, if you haven't asked for advice, if you haven't asked for feedback, I'm not gonna give it to you, because there is no opening. There's like, we haven't created an opening for you to be receptive to what I can give you. Therefore, I'm not going. So the same thing applies. If someone's giving me advice, I'm like, I haven't asked for it. Don't give me advice.
Yeah. And there's also something really special about asking for permission, you know, because I know, and I love that distinction of like, is this about you actually helping me, or is this about you flexing your ego to show how much you
right?
Because you're not even asking for permission. So that means you haven't even thought about, is the person even open to receiving what I'm about to
Can I give you some feedback, or can I like, and it's like, totally.
Yeah.
Now you've created, and I can also say, no, not really. I've done that. People ask me if I want a feedback. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like an emotional buffer. I had to learn about that. This reminds me of one of my favorite rap lyrics. I think it's G-Eazy, but he says we're not even in the same arena. It's not even the same sport. That. But can I out myself, Amelia?
Yeah, out yourself.
So about the story, you told me about this, and I actually defended that woman because I was like, oh, like maybe she's trying to help you. You know, it sounds like she's trying to give advice. And that was probably me projecting, because I feel like I also say like a lot. I've never thought that about you, but that's probably where that was coming from. And I'm glad you brought up the emotional buffer part, because that's what you should do, right? You know, you don't just go up to someone and assume that like they are open to that advice, want that advice, trust wherever you're coming from. Yeah. So yeah, and I'm glad that you stood up to me. I don't know if that's too strong a term. And then we also got into, I don't know if tone policing is the right word, like what that woman happened to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to go into that.
We can say it on this show.
What was that?
It was a white woman. We can say
yeah. So that.
I mean, yeah, I wonder. It's funny. Nobody, especially Trump supporters, don't tone police him. They're like, yeah, he tells it how it is and he's authentic. But like a young looking woman of color who's actually dropping mad knowledge says like a couple times, and it's all of a sudden, yeah, sweetie, people aren't going to see you as professional. Which, look, and I am open. I'm a very open to feedback person in general. So I will always take things with a grain of salt or whatever. So I did take in what she said, and I was like, because to me, but what I got from it was, I don't need to feel bad about myself, but it reminded me that I get to step into my authority more. And so, and I know that I vacillate between that. I know that I don't always show up like powerfully, and I'm like, this is my show and this is what I'm doing, and it doesn't always come across that way. Sometimes it's like, so I have this thing, and like, would you like to come? And that is me. That's my shadow. That's my stuff, and it's okay. And so it reminded me, because I work a lot with archetypes with people, and so anything that I work on with my clients, I work on with myself, because it's like I'm the product of my stuff. So I work a lot with archetypes, and for me, like even before a show, before any interview, I consciously, intentionally step into the archetype of the authority, of the powerful woman, of the wise woman, of the intelligent, knowing woman who knows her shit. And I have to consciously step into that. And that's how I show up as that. But if I don't consciously do that, sometimes it'll end up showing up like, Like, oh my gosh, like I'm having a birthday party, like will you come? Versus like I'm having this awesome get together and I would really love for you to be there. It would mean a lot to me. Will you come? You know, there's a different energy with that. And so I did appreciate that feedback. And I didn't take it so personally. So I think that's a really good way to manage that, because I think a lot of times we're afraid of visibility and stepping into our greatness because we're afraid of the feedback that we might not like. So, yeah. Victor says, I feel like I would have definitely gone a lot further in life than where I am now if I had more of that. I think you're talking about the accountability, like being surrounded by people who get it. Yes, people that assure us that the world won't end if we make mistakes or stumble along the way. Well, you know what? You're still alive. We're also like, you know how far I always fantasize about how far I could have gone in my artistry if my Filipino family encouraged that and didn't just try to make me become a nurse the whole time. You know, like I could have gotten real far with my gymnastics, with my dancing, with my acting, with my performing. I think, but also I've learned to trust that this is my process, this is my journey, and it happened exactly as it's meant to. And now that I'm aware that I get to surround myself with like people who will remind me that the world's not going to end, at least now we know. Now we know.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game, right? To play the if I had done this in college or if I hadn't done that. It also reminds me of one of my favorite quotes by Morpheus in my favorite movie, The Matrix Reloaded. Like Neo and Trinity. I'm just gonna say names and assume you all know what I'm talking about. But Neo and Trinity are like, maybe there's something we did do or didn't do or did wrong. And Morpheus is like, no, what happened and couldn't have happened any other way. And they're like, why? And he's like, because we're still alive. My God, Felix, you get confused.
I love it.
So big up to any woman that is going to reference The Matrix. Just want to put it out there. Love that.
Adding another layer into it, yeah, and I love Pat's. I love your love of the Matrix, and I love your Matrix-inspired art. It's just always the best. So, yep, everyone, again, go to Pat's page if you want to consume amazing artwork and amazing videos and artistry on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram. What?
You gave me The Matrix, the DVD set.
I did.
It's in the other room, but thank you again.
Oh, and I meant to show this earlier. Look what Kat got me for my birthday, you guys. They are boba milk tea slippers. I can't. I can't. I couldn't even
so excited. I was so excited for that to arrive. Because usually when I send mail to myself or someone else, it just doesn't arrive. So I'm really glad that happened.
Yay! Okay, adding another layer onto this, with your last few minutes left, I'm sure quarantine has brought up a lot of stuff, and I think, and I've seen it across the board, that this time alone where we're like forced to be at home and think and be with ourselves, and the universe was basically like, go to your room and think about what you've done. I think I've seen it in myself and in a lot of the people in our industry, as artists and coaches and healers. It's like it's brought us to like what's important to us and what's the work we really want to be doing and what's the work that we really want to put out there. And so I would love to hear from each of you, like, how has quarantine supported this visibility, stepping into your greatness journey? Like, how has it made things clearer for you? How has it helped you? What have you learned through that lens?
I learned that I can do anything I want on Zoom. Jesus Christ, from seminars to cooking to everything. No, I mean really, the fact that we're taught that, or we become complacent, right? So just life can only seem a certain way, right? And we can only work a certain way. All of a sudden, here comes COVID, and now you're like, oh snap! Now what? So now we had to like readjust, and just to find out that we already have the tools to do things differently. We just chose not to. So for me, what it made me do was to look at how I was doing that in my life, how I was being complacent in my life, and I started working really hard, working through the fact that I was unemployed suddenly, and then figuring out that I had a list of things that I wanted to get done and I've been putting off for such a long time. And the excuse that I kept having and giving myself was, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. And then here comes COVID, and then here's like, whoosh, you
Here's
now
all
have
this.
time, my son. Right. So then I had no excuse. So I was like, all right, I wanted to do A, B, C, D, and Z. Let's get it done. And I did. And even being with that doing, it gave me an opportunity to just get that stuff out of the way, all the details, but
Yeah.
it created room for my artistry. It created room for my activism. And I was able to just like really be in the experience of what COVID was and still be activating in a way that I didn't even think I would be able to, because I found a different voice that I didn't even know I had.
I love that. I love that. I'm hearing a lot of really great things there, that you found your voice, and like all those things that we made these excuses of, like, I don't have time, I don't have the tools. It's like, oh, I don't know who has background stuff, but like I'm just like muting everybody because it's weird. I don't have the tools, but it's like I do. I have it all right here. And you can do anything on Zoom. I know Zoom is amazing. Zoom is great. Who else? What else has come up for you through quarantine and, you know, becoming clearer, or maybe not clearer, on your visibility and stepping into your power and your greatness and what you have to offer?
Do you want to go, Felix?
You can go, Kat.
For me, I'd always wondered, like, what would I do if I thought it was the end of the world? And at some point during March, I was like, this is it. And so in a way, in a big way, there's a blessing that comes with that, because the thoughts that come to your mind, you can't fake that, like we'd like to think if someone was like chasing us, this is really extreme. Like if someone was chasing us with a knife, we'd like to think that we would do all the right things, right? Like if we're watching a horror film, but you don't really know until you're actually put in that situation. So the hurdle is there. So anyway, the kinds of thoughts that came up thinking like, this might be like the apocalypse, back before we knew like the things we know now, and everything was a lot more extreme and scary and unknown. I noticed the thoughts that came into my head in terms of like the people I wanted to connect with, the dreams that I hadn't even started or hadn't even given any time for, the dreams that I was neglecting, the projects. So quarantine has given me the time for sure to do that. I was freelancing as a makeup artist before this. And now, so I sat down and was like, I'm not touching anybody. No one's going to touch me. And, I got into different things that I'd been neglecting, like voice acting and writing and screenwriting, whatever, more self-care. And even took a break from makeup, actually, which ended up being really healthy. And now I'm like even more passionate about it. So, yeah, I'm grateful for that silver lining of being put in this situation and just learning what was important, what came to mind, like what flashed before my eyes because I thought it might be taken away, and thought, at some point I might die, or like this might be it, or what came to mind was the things I was still trying to do, even though suddenly I couldn't go anywhere physically. And so apparently, the things that did come up are the things that I still want to do no matter what, even if I'm not making money, even if I can't, show for it. Like there's things I've been doing I'm not even talking about, and that says a lot to me, because so much of my struggle has been from, I'm only going to do it if I have content to show for it on social media and someone's going to praise me for it, or it's going to make money. So yeah, it's been a big blessing in that way. Like no disrespect to like the horrific things that have come with coronavirus and everything happening in the world during this revolution, but I'm definitely taking that to heart. And I actually started a list of like things to remember, or things that I learned from quarantine, like things I don't want to forget about, just things I noticed about myself and like my shadow side about the world. Yeah, all that.
I love it. I love it. What I'm hearing is it's like it had you like just explore other things that would have not otherwise been explored. And also too, like the kind of content you're creating is also different kind of content, because for a while it was a lot of the makeup stuff, but I see you bringing in your love for film and doing, what would you call them? Like movie reviews, like movie live, Instagram live movie talks about, you know, like you did Get Out, you did Disclosure, Moonlight, you did a bunch of movies and had brought people on for talk shows on that, which is really cool because just from me observing you, you know, I know how much you love film, and it's just really nice to like see you in your zone talking about like critiquing film. I learn a lot because I like to consume film, but I like to hear smart people that know about film talk about it, because then I'm like, I would have never thought about that, like dialogue and character arcs. And so I just love that content from you. And then we're doing our like anti-racism series as well, twice a month. And so it's really important, I think, you know, just the kind of work that we're putting out there is stuff that we like wouldn't have had time for, right? Or that we didn't even know was really important to us. And I'm reminded of what you said too, Rafael, like I found a voice or a side of your voice that you didn't even know you had. It's powerful. It's really, really powerful. How about you, Felix?
But you know, it's a very interesting question, just because it's been like 4 months, so I can't really. There's not like one thing, and like I would have to like narrow down, because I've probably learned hundreds of things throughout it, and I truly believe that everything affects everything. And now we're in a state where it's kind of like the playing field is leveled. Like this can affect anyone. For me, some of the biggest things have been around just going with flow and feeling into what I want to experience in my life. So what I want to experience is peace. I want to experience joy. I want to experience light. So, you know, whenever I'm not there, I'm always looking at, well, what is happening, right? What is it that I need in order to feel myself out of this? Because you can't really think your way out of feelings. You have to act. You have to feel yourself out. I've just learned so much, man, and I've gotten to try out so many new things and discovered new things about who I am and what I want to do, and just like reconnecting with my humanity and the things that I want to do outside of myself, and the contributions that I want to do, right? So the contribution that I am, that I get to be, just by simply connecting with people, simply like texting, calling, checking in, loving on someone. And I'm very big on having people show up just as they are, because I will accept you, and I'm very big on understanding. It's a habit of mine. Instead of like looking to be understood, I look to understand. Because everyone is going through something, and for them, like, it doesn't matter whether like it's perceptive, whether it's like in their mind, like for them it's very real. So we must honor that, and we must be with people where they are. And so for me, I've learned that success can look very different. So we talked about failure, success. I don't believe in failure. I see failure as feedback. I also don't believe in success. Like, you don't get to a point and then it's like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like, failure doesn't exist to me, and success doesn't exist to me. I am already successful. I am already successful at many things. Like, I can cook an egg like crazy, like, you know, but it's like people don't see those things that they do so well, and they don't like celebrate the things that they do so well. When if you were to just amplify the things that you already do well, it will change your life completely. A lot of us want to, and here's the thing: there's always going to be There's always going to be a gap in between who you want to be and who you are. And we must accept that. There's always going to be a gap between who you want to be and who you are. That's really it. And we're all going to have problems, which are opportunities for solutions. So we take on way too much trying to be successful. I learned to take smaller bites. So I can tell you this. So just to close, I was doing 10K twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And it's, for me, it's not a lot. But with the sun how it is right now, and the thing is, like, we don't, when I have to do it, I don't look like, oh, I have to do it twice a week. It looks like, well, I have to do 6 miles now. So, and that's tough in the heat. So I learned that I have to regress. It's too much for me, because we usually tend to feel like a failure when things are just too much. It's just it takes too much of a cognitive load for us to do something. It's not simple enough. It's not a habit. So what I did, I made it 5K 4 times a week. I'm running the same distance, but when it's the now moment, it looks so much easier. It looks so much doable. For us, it's getting back to that, regressing. If you're feeling like a failure, regress.
Yeah, I love that. I love, like, take smaller bites. I've learned to take smaller bites. Like, that was like a great, just like bottom line.
It's like Les Brown says, by the yard is hard, but inch by inch, anything's a cinch.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Oh, and Veronica's asking about the anti-racism series. Yeah. So it's on Instagram, and Kat and I haven't picked or announced our next date yet, but we had our first one on Friday/Monday. So it's on both. Is it on both of our pages? It's on my page right now.
Yeah, so I originally started it, but my Instagram was weird, so we put it on Amelia's and it went super well. So maybe it'll live on yours. I don't know yet, but yeah, we haven't come up with our next topic. Excited.
Yeah, we haven't come up with our next date, but in order to find out about it, I'll announce it on Instagram and Facebook, and so will Kat. So I put Kat's Instagram here.
Oh, thank you.
Kat's Instagram, and then is Odd-Faced, and it's also on her name. And then mine is TheAmeliaFortes. So we both are going to announce it. And yeah, we'll probably do one before July's over, maybe. We'll let y'all know. But the first one is already up on my Instagram. So you can go there and you'll see it says Breaking Up with Being the Model Minority. And it's about an hour long. And it's just so good and juicy. Yeah, just to kind of wrap up, I mean, just so many great things about visibility and stepping into your greatness. And I'm really excited. I was really excited to talk about this too, because I'm actually hosting a 5-day live stream series next week. That's free. It's called Illuminate. And a big part of it is going to be about visibility and stepping into your greatness. And so that's another reason why I wanted to talk about it. But if you want to find out more about it, you can just go to my website. It's right here, TheAmeliaFortes.com. And it's called Illuminate, and it's about clarifying your path by loving yourself from within. So we talked a lot about visibility, and the way that what I'm hearing as a common theme is the way to step into visibility and into your greatness, whether it's in your career or in your relationships. It's about loving yourself. Like you said, confidence plus vulnerability. Kat, you said that. And ownership, owning your greatness. And I think a lot of times we can get clouded, and especially with quarantine and everything going on, I feel like it's given us all a much needed opportunity to really reset and reassess, like, what the heck am I doing with my life? What is my next step? You know, I've been working this job, and now that I've had to work from home, maybe realizing maybe this isn't where I want to be. Or I've been in this relationship and now being stuck at home with them, realizing like maybe I want something different. And so this is for people who are kind of who are successful, who have done awesome things, and you're just kind of like, what's next? Like, what do I do next? And so hence clarifying your path by loving yourself from within. And I'll just share my screen so you can see. For
anyone who cares, I signed up.
Yeah, Kat signed up. So when you go to my website, AmeliaFortes.com, you'll see there's a banner right here that says sign up for Illuminate. If you want more information too, when you click that link, it will take you to the page that will show you more information about it. And I'm really, really excited about it. It's a 5-day live stream event happening here on Facebook next week. It's free. Tell your friends. We're actually going to be filling in your self-love blueprint, which my assistant and I finalized it, so I have to show y'all. This is like the reveal of the self-love blueprint. So this is the self-love blueprint. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yay. Isn't she pretty? And we're not going to be filling in everything because, you know, this would take your whole life to fill in, or like a whole thing. But we're going to be diving into a big part of this. This is going to be one of the fun things we're going to get to do in Illuminate. And so I'm really, really excited to bring that to you just in relation to what we've been talking about tonight. You know, one of the things that I've been reassessing is like, okay, what's my next thing to bring to the world? As you all know, I'm a content creator. I create programs, self-love programs that really just help people feel less pain and love themselves more and feel confident and take ownership for what makes them awesome, whether it's in career, business, or relationships, whether it's feeling confident that you deserve the money that you want to be making. And so I was really meditating a lot on like, what's the next thing that I'm going to unleash into the world? And when Illuminate was born, it was just very exciting for me, very exciting for my assistant to put it together. And so I'm excited to bring it to you and to walk you through the self-love blueprint that now exists. I've been wanting to create something like that for a long time, and now it exists, and now we get to fill it out together. So, yep, sign up on my website there, and I'll see you in Illuminate. And as always, we've got Wind Down Wednesday every week. Oh, I didn't even mention Raphael had to drop off because I think he was the one with the technical issues that was making the sound weird. But we'll see you next week, Raphael. Wind Down Wednesday with me and Felix every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Go to Kat's page. She has a lot of awesome shows as well, like cinema, anti-racism. What else do we talk about on Kat's show, on Kat's page? What else do we talk about? All kinds of stuff. Activism, smashing the patriarchy, all the things. So definitely check out Kat. Come back for Mind on Wednesday, and check out Illuminate. Any one sentence maximum last words you'd like to lead everyone with?
I'm good.
Good. Thank you so much, Kat, for being here. Would you like to say anything before we wrap up?
Since the topic of this live is vulnerability, if you haven't watched like either a TED Talk or a whole documentary from Brene Brown, or just look up a quote by her, I feel like she, you know, that's like her life work or at the moment. So I feel like she's gotten through to a lot of people. She got through to my mom. Not that my mom doesn't always listen, but you know, it's a different generation. She got through to my sister, to me. So if you want to learn more about vulnerability, and this topic is still like, I recommend that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a great action step to leave people with. Yeah, Brene Brown has helped me a lot through my visibility, shame, vulnerability journey. Well, thank you so much, Kat, for being here. I'm so excited that you were a guest to this. I love doing shows with you, and I know you've been a fan of this show and a participant in other ways, and so I'm so glad that you were here to participate in this way. And everyone in the audience, thank you so much for being here. Honor yourself for taking this time for you, and yeah, show Kat some love. If you'd want to see Kat back, just shower us with some hearts and some likes, and we will see you next week, and I will definitely see you in Illuminate.
Okay, bye, Felix. Bye, Leila. Bye, everyone.
Bye.